Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'll just acknowledge the presence of our chief guest, Mr. Nuruddin Haji, the presence of the representative of the police IG, Mr. Nyale, Mr. Hobart Gizjen, UNESCO, Secretary General KUJ, KEG, top officials, our board members participating here and online, and some people I would like to recognize. I hope they're in the audience from Uganda. Our media council colleague Okello Jabweli, wherever he is, he can do like this. Welcome. And we've seen your presentation. Tanzania, they're here. Online, we welcome them. Rwanda is here. Burundi, no. Somalia, Mr. Farouk. I want to mention that before I came here, before Mr. Farouk spoke, I thought we had problems when he spoke and said 58 journalists killed in 10 years. Oh, it's a dangerous job you are doing, but doing it very bravely. Thank you very much. I hope in your presentation later, as you interact with our media council, people on the ground, we can negotiate on how to enhance the partnership so that we work with you more the way we work with Uganda, Tanzania. It's an area where we need to help. I also want to acknowledge Eric Odur's call to media houses that have not reinstated full pay for journalists to do so. It cannot be overemphasized. The way he put it is well and fully supported by the Media Council. We've talked a lot about the problems, the denial of rights, the dangers. I would like to mention just a bit of, in the light of this, what is the Media Council doing or trying to do to intervene in ending the problems facing journalists in Kenya and in our region. The biggest challenge which we are just emerging out of is the COVID crisis, which really brought, most of the things we are talking about here are the problems that were imposed on the media by the COVID-19 crisis. I would like to mention that Media Council of Kenya will continue enhancing its partnerships with professional groups that we work with, the press clubs, so that we can help them in empowering them, in enhancing media capacity and in intervening in situations where journalists are fully challenged. We'll continue supporting media professional groups and press clubs. Press clubs include what Kenya Editors Guild has to minimize adverse effects of COVID-19 and related actions in response to cases that affect the industry. We'll continue enhancing training of journalists, including on safety and mental health, jointly with the Ministry of Health. These are things that have come up, especially because of the COVID-19 crisis. MCK, with partners, is planning a major intervention on election preparedness. We have elections next year, a very challenging time in Kenya for journalists, ahead of the 2022 general election, and training also on how to cope against threats and harassment that are anticipated at this time. We'll continue implementing interventions that include strengthening and supporting national mechanisms on protection of journalists, training on safety, pushing media houses, or rather let me say working with media houses to honor and implement the recently signed safety charter for journalists, which is very important. We'll continue working closely with the industry to ensure investigation and prosecution of perpetrators of press freedom violations, media and security agency dialogues, which help a lot. And that's why you see this morning we've invited two very important people, the ODPP and the IG of police. Notably, Kenya's press freedom situation, you may think, has been improving, but has not been improving and faces many dangers going ahead. As was reflected in the World Press Freedom Index report by the Reporters Without Frontiers. We may pride ourselves as among the most free in the region, but we are not out of the wood. Bad working conditions, Eric Odward, thank you for highlighting that, and the safety situation of journalists in Kenya has been made worse by the effects of COVID-19, as seen in mass sackings, non-payment of salaries and wages, and harassment of journalists. These are some of the things we really want to continue working to minimize. Hundreds of journalists are staring at uncertain futures due to reduced income, as most employers implement cost-cutting measures to cushion themselves from the ravages of this pandemic. We are aware that as frontline workers, journalists and media practitioners are exposed to the daily risks of infection, and throughout the period of COVID-19, Media Council of Kenya, with other partners and with the government, continued to intervene, mostly financially, to rescue media houses that were very badly affected, especially community media, to come out of the crisis through financial support. According to statistics compiled by the Media Council of Kenya, whose mandate includes promotion and protection of the rights and privileges of journalists, the number of violations continue to rise. We just mentioned 17. I didn't want to mention after I heard what Farouk's territory has gone through. So we need to intervene and not just be inward looking at Kenya. The more we help in the region, the more the region becomes more gains an atmosphere for journalists to work in safety. It helps everyone if we can help and work together in partnerships. I would like to close a long speech by saying that at the Media Council of Kenya now, the Complaints Commission is mandated to arbitrate and adjudicate media disputes. However, failure by parties in the conflict to utilize the dispute resolution mechanism has further jeopardized media financial well-being. People resort to going to court, yet there is now a mechanism that can resolve disputes at the Media Council of Kenya. We encourage people with disputes, including government, to make the Media Council of Kenya Complaints Commission the first stop for dispute resolution. It's quicker, it's more amicable, including the politicians, the police, and usually parties come out of there understanding each other's roles better. Hopefully, lately we have the Minister of ICT, Mr. Joe Muchero, has established a task force on review of media policy in Kenya. It's a welcome gesture that shows that the government is supporting our efforts to improve the media space. And we would like to encourage the task force to do its work diligently so that we can achieve a step that we've been longing for a long time. Thank you very much. I'll keep it short because we have a short time, but not without recognition that it's one of our most important days to try to recover lost gains that the media loses through many interruptions that were banded from all sides.